Hey, truth seekers, welcome back. Zach here. This Saturday, March 26th, 2016, I was doing a radio interview on Truth Frequency Radio with Sean Carone. I'll link that interview in the description if you haven't seen it. Anyhow, he asked me if I had noticed the symbol on the Brussels airport, and I told him I had not. He then went on to say, in his opinion, the symbol on the airport looked a lot like the streak of blood that was put on the floor of the Bataclan Theater, where supposedly the majority of the massacre occurred on November 13th in Paris, France. If you can make out this smear, it truly does look a lot like the Brussels airport symbol. In the last video I did, I talked about this symbol and how on the glass of the airport it was showing, and because it's two symbols right next to each other, it looks a whole lot like 33. Let me just show you the news footage from the Daily Mail that quickly captures this symbolism. Real quick, Truth Seeker. Very quick. Did you see that? How it just streaked across and you could make out the two symbols that were right there. Let's just do it one more time. Try to pause. So there it is, the symbol on two of the sliding glass doors. It looks very much like a 3. Put them together, it looks a lot like 33, an important number to Belgium. Belgium as a nation has a gematria of 33, which we'll talk more about. Anyhow, as I routinely speak about, the powers that be, they're madmen. They operate by a numerological code. They're very much invested in symbolism. This right here, this heart-shaped streak that also looks a lot like the 3 on the Belgium airport, was likely predictive programming from these tyrants. Let me show you some more connections between the Bataclan Theater terror hoax and also the Brussels Airport and Melbeek Station terror hoax of March 22nd. Bataclan Theater in simple English gematria equals 131, where this image was taken. And from the date of the attack at the Bataclan to the date of the attack at the airport is a total span of 131 days. This is if you count the end date. If you don't count the end date, it's 130 days later, which is also interesting because the airport has gematria of 130, and in the Paris attack, supposedly the total body count was 130 people. So again, we have the symbol itself, and also we have the numbers coded into the location, and between these two pairings, they sync up with both attacks. This is what I'm trying to educate people to. In all of these terror hoaxes, numbers and symbols are coded into the events that foreshadow what is to come next. The purpose of them doing this is because they already have at this time, they already had their next event planned, which was March 22nd in Brussels. And I assure you, their next event, it's already planned, and within what has been coded, it is foretold. It's just a matter of putting the pieces of the puzzle together. So here's some other things I want to talk about. The November 13th attack was on a Friday the 13th, which in gematria sums to 223. The latest attack at the airport in Melbeek Metro Station was on March 22nd, which is written 22/3. Notice the metro station that was bombed on March 22nd even has gematria of 223. And as I continue to say, it is the Freemasons and Zionist Jews who are the false Jews who are referenced as the synagogue of Satan in Revelation of the Bible that are responsible for this. Masonic and Jewish gematria 223, the synagogue of Satan 223. As I talked about in my other videos, the reflection of that number is 322. The number skull and bones identifies by the Masonic fraternity headquartered at Yale University in the United States. The date of the March 22nd attack had numerology of 41 corresponding with the gematria of skull and bones, which identifies by the number 322. Again, from November 13th to March 22nd without the end date, 130 days. 130 dead in the Paris attack. Brussels International Airport equals 130. What else equals 130 that I think of is Washington. Washington, D.C., the headquarters of the United States. Remember, Freemasonry, an international outfit operating on all continents. George Washington, which Washington, D.C. is named after, was a 33rd degree Scottish Rite Freemason. Here's the gematria of Brussels International Airport, 130, the other location the attack occurred at. And remember, all of this propaganda, all of this fear-mongering, it is to steer the people of this world down the path of needless war, needless aggression, for the purpose of the dollars it generates for the banker tyrants who run the show, from the coded hoaxes to the media that sponsors it. Military-industrial complex, a term that many people know to describe what's going on, something we were warned about by Eisenhower, who coined the term, has gematria of 322. This is no coincidence. These people who warn us are oftentimes taunting us. Here's some more things I want to talk about. The attack on March 22nd in Belgium was the worst terror attack since December 13th, 2011, which was blamed on a 33-year-old Islamic radical. More propaganda by the numbers. Notice they say he was 33 years old. From the date of that attack, the date of March 22nd, 2016, was a span of exactly 223 weeks, not by coincidence. This number incredibly important to the Masons and Zionists. The area he attacked corresponds with the gematria of Belgium, corresponds with his age, 33, a number that shows up big in all of the hoaxes every single time. Keep in mind that France is home of the plus 33 dialing code. And France is also where the original superstition of Friday the 13th comes out of. In the year 1307, the Knights Templar, who were Masons, were burned at the stake by King Philip. All of these attacks, tributes to history, coded by the numbers, syncing up with astrology, and more. This March 22nd attack came on the night of a full moon. Notice also this attack in 2011 supposedly happened at 12:33. 12 in numerology, 1 plus 2 is 3. So in numerology, this could be looked at as 333. Again, no coincidence. These people always use the same numbers, and when you learn to recognize it, you see through the propaganda in record time. Also, with regards to the Bataclan, it was designated as a historical monument on November 3rd, 1991. Think about that date, written 3/11 or 11/3. In the beginning, we talked about the number 131, how Bataclan Theater equals 131. The attacks were a span of 131 days, from Friday, November 13th to March 22nd. This is a reshuffling of those same numbers, 113, 311, 131, all very important numbers. And in regards to this Bataclan attack, it synced up perfectly with the Charlie Hebdo attack of January 7th, 2015, which came exactly 311 days earlier. 311. Think about what Charlie Hebdo is, a satire magazine. And these Masons, these Zionists, they are satiring humanity with these coded propaganda events that are blamed on Islamic boogeymen. Remember, the Zionist state of Israel is the biggest beneficiary of this propaganda. They have plans to grow their state. This is part of the ongoing agenda that is more than a century old. World War I was about establishing Israel. World War II was about fulfilling the establishment of Israel. World War III will likely be about expanding Israel. The only way this can be stopped is if this knowledge is spread, if people realize that living at this moment, their greatest responsibility to the earth is to stop the wrongdoing. And that's really true for all of us, whether we want to realize it or not, acknowledge it or not. It is our responsibility, the people who are alive, the people who are awake, the people who care, to stop this. 311 is the reflection of 113. Again, these are numbers that get coded into the hoaxes often. Mainstream equals 113, dishonest equals 113, green screen equals 113, Scottish equals 113. Scottish Rite Freemasonry came to power in France, where this Bataclan attack happened. And of course, in Baba Kama 113a, it says Jews may use lies to circumvent Gentiles, which are non-Jews. Again, the media is controlled by Zionist Jews. It is undeniable. They code this number into all of their lies. Just think about how it all comes together. Pretty undeniable. Eagles of Death Metal, the band that were playing at the Bataclan, I've done a video on them about a half hour long. I get into a lot of details. I just want to point this out, though. After the attack, they were trying to get their cover of the Duran Duran song Save a Prayer to number 1. Save a Prayer equals 131, just like Bataclan Theater. I pointed out at the time that from the November 13th attack to the upcoming Super Bowl in the United States was a span of 86 days. The word symbol equals 86. The word triangle equals 86. The word pyramid equals 86. We were talking about symbols in the beginning. The Super Bowl, thankfully nothing happened at it, but they did use the halftime show to further their propaganda by the numbers. If you didn't see my work on the Super Bowl, I guaranteed the Broncos would beat the Panthers months before it happened, months before the Super Bowl was even made. I said Von Miller would be the MVP. I said there'd be a Black Panther tribute, which created a lot of controversy in the United States. All of these things occurred. I predicted them well before they happened, all by understanding this number code and how things are put together. The Masons, the Zionists, they control media, they control sports, they control pretty much the whole show. They're the ones who've made the world a stage. If any of you have seen the Batman movie where Hines Ward's on the field, he's wearing the number 86 when the stadium explodes. Hines Ward was a real football player for the Pittsburgh Steelers who finished his career with 86 touchdowns. And also think about the Hiroshima bombing on 8/6. Also, the frontman for Eagles of Death Metal, Jesse the Devil Hughes. He's from Greenville, South Carolina, which has gematria of 131 and 59. 59 is the kill number in Jewish gematria. We know how 131 connects, but 59 is the kill number in Jewish gematria. The date of the Bataclan attack was on a date with 59 numerology. And think about this. Jason in gematria equals 59. Jason, Friday the 13th movies. From my research, what I have come to understand about horror movies is they are tributes to the sickness that is waged in this world by the Masons and Zionists, but instead of exposing themselves, they create these fictional murder characters such as Jason, Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, and more. But once you're aware of what's being coded, you recognize these are tributes to real events in history. And in a way, it's just more programming of fear. Scary movies. Also, if you're not aware, the Bataclan Theater was originally owned by Jewish owners, and they sold it just before the attack. They sold it on the date of September 11th. And if you read the mainstream reporting on it, supposedly one of the owners was on the phone with the current ownership when the attack happened. Just think about how improbable that sounds. His brother, Joel, the co-owner, told Channel 2 that they sold the theater on September 11th. Remember, Star of David equals 119, the Zionist Jew symbol. All-Seeing Eye equals 119. Very important symbol to the Masons and Zionists on world currencies. The date September 11th is written 11/9 in most parts of the world, like 119. Anyhow, sold the theater on September 11th, and he recently immigrated to Israel. Come on. We've seen for months now what they're also doing in the media, saying this Islamic threat in Europe is causing more people to immigrate out of Europe, immigrate to Israel. And what did I just say? Part of the agenda is to make Israel bigger. You need more people there, or more people go there, they're going to make an argument for needing a bigger nation. And these people are the bullies of the world. They control the militaries, they control the media, they have all the clout to make their agenda happen. All they need to do is make people passive to it, and they make people passive to it with these lies. These lies creating the Islamic boogeyman. The real terrorists of this world are mostly Zionist Jews. Sure, there's other people in other religions that participate, but the real terror religion, if there is one, it's the Zionist Jews. It's not anti-Semitic to say that. It's the truth. If you can't handle the truth, I'm sorry. From September 11th, 2015 to the date of the Bataclan attack was a span of 63 days, 9 weeks. Paris equals 63. Charlie Hebdo equals 63. We've seen a lot of this number in a lot of these attacks. 63 is another way to represent 666, a number connected to prophecy, a number connected to Kabbalah, the Jewish mysticism. A number these people like to code. And also in this recent Brussels, Belgium terror hoax, one of the details put into the story laughing at us is that supposedly this boy Mason Wells was at the Boston Marathon bombing. He was at the Paris terror hoax, and he was at the Brussels bombing in the airport. And they put him out in the media with his face wrapped up like Lazarus. Lazarus, the story from the Bible about resurrection. This story comes the week of Easter. Think about that. Resurrection, Easter, Islam versus Christianity, what the media is trying to create. Anyhow, they tell us this boy's been at all 3 terror hoaxes, and who knows which one they'll say he's at next. I wouldn't be surprised if in the next terror hoax they tell us Mason Wells is there, just to laugh at us. But anyhow, they say Mason Wells is from Sandy, Utah. You know, we see a lot of this word Sandy in tragedy too. Sandy Hook, Hurricane Sandy. Notice that Sandy equals 63. Also, Sandy, Utah, where he's from, equals 113. This number they love to code. Scottish, mainstream, green screen, dishonest, perjury. Another word having to do with dishonest. Remember, Baba Kama, 113a. Jews can use lies to circumvent Gentiles. Think about it. So hopefully this was clear enough. I just want people to learn to recognize these symbols and what these people are really doing. You know, a lot of people were trying to figure out what was up with this smear. I think now it's clear. It was forecasting the Brussels, Belgium airport. But who knew it had this symbol? I mean, maybe some people out there knew it. I didn't. But now that I see it, it's, clear as day. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.